Okay guys, today I'm covering something I'm super fucking excited about because this is something I have done for the last few years and I feel like I have figured out the formula for it. And that's the shower set back here. So I'm going to go over with you how to light it, how to shoot it, how to troubleshoot issues, and then I'm going to throw in a couple of scenarios and different backgrounds for you, as well as a bonus set at the end to give you an edge to all of your water shoots. So come with me. It's going to be feral. It's going to be wild. Let's see what kind of magic we can create with a shower set. Okay, so first I want to talk to you about your shower set itself. So this is a rolling rack that I will link in the description that I found on Amazon. This was not all I had. This is not where I started. So originally we had one of those like $15 El Cheapo clothing racks from Walmart with a piece of plexiglass zip tied to it from Home Depot. So it doesn't matter, or you could do like a light, like a backdrop stand with plexiglass clamped to it. Whatever works for you, as long as you have the plexiglass to shoot through, you can make it work. So do not think that you've got to jump through any hoops to make sure this set looks great, because it's gonna look weird until you see your raws in camera, right? So a couple things I'm gonna give you tips and tricks on for how I use this set. So regardless of what plexiglass you've got, when I spray it, I start with a super light mist from a distance. It'll give you those really nice kind of foggy drops. I adjust my nozzle and I go down to a stream. Oop, we're not quite there yet. And then I'll hit it like that, and you get those cute little drops that'll kind of break up all the little droplets, okay? You can do this however you like. This is a 98-cent bottle from Walmart, so you really can't go wrong, and this is just water, okay? Nothing else. Now, when you're shooting a shower set, I want you to think about your model and your glass being two separate entities. You are going to light them accordingly. And here's what I mean by that. So right now, I have my light to the left, and standing behind it, I know that I'm going to get a lot of glare shooting from where you're at, right? So with that, I want to consider lighting my plexiglass and my model separately. So what I'm going to do, or attempt to do, is I'm going to take this and I'm going to plop it back here. I can already tell you that's going to illuminate your droplets better. And then if you stand to the side, you'll kind of have a nice little like, almost like window light, so you can see how big your light is on your drops, okay? And then from there, I will test shoot, see how the light works with just this light and my model, kind of turn and move. And then if I need to, I will add another light here pointed towards my model, okay? So it's really, really important to always remember that your plexiglass and your model need to be considered to be lit separately. Now, this same rule applies. So, and I'll show you on a plain wall. So if my model is standing right here and I have this light facing my drops, but I want to add some neon color, right? Which I've got neons because of my wall over here. But if we're talking a plain black backdrop or just a plain wall, I'm going to take tube lights or whatever neon lights that I have, and I'm going to take them, post them, and point them towards my client. So I'm going to post them towards my model this way, okay? That's going to give you the edge and the dimension of having white light and colored lights without flooding either of them. Does that make sense? So you want to make sure that you can see your water droplets, because if you don't light your water droplets, you're not going to be able to see shit anyway, so it's going to be useless, okay? So that's the first thing I want to tell you. The second thing I want to tell you is if you shoot this with ambient light behind you, like this lamp and these neons, you're also going to get extra light that hits your water droplets, so it's going to feel more dynamic, okay? If you just have a plain wall behind you, it's going to feel kind of different, and I'm going to show you exactly what that can look like as well and how we light that. The next thing I want you to remember is regardless of how you've got your plexiglass, this is going to drip, this is going to leak, so it's going to hit the floor. So make sure you're aware of where the water drips, put a towel down, however you need to do it. At the very least, make sure your model knows so they don't get their feet wet and then slip. I want you to consider the details of your shower set. So I know a lot of photographers will not, and when I say will not, I mean will not shoot a shower set with lingerie because they don't like the concept of the lingerie in the shower, which is fine. So you can do wet tees, you can do nude, you can do various of things. So I'm going to show you a wet tee and hopefully a lingerie look as well, so you can kind of see what those can look like. So shower sets are totally up to your prerogative and how you want to do it. I've seen some put it in front of like a jungle. I've seen some put it in front of a greenhouse set. So this is super, super versatile. And I've also seen, well, I say seen, I actually put, for spooky season, I took fake blood that I made, not the store-bought, and put it across the top, let it drip, and I shot through it. That was wicked. Something I want you to remind you of, when you put stuff on your plexiglass, do not put anything that you cannot get off with water. Don't use acetone. When you do clean it, please be careful, because it's not going to clean the way your glass is going to clean, and then you're going to get real pissed off because you have smears on your plexiglass. So when I shoot mine, I let it dry. So I have the drops on my, like dried on my plexiglass, but the dried drops disappear when we, respray it, or rather than the smears, because it takes forever. I have taught a couple of photographers how to shoot this in the best possible way. So I'm going to recommend you attempt, if you love a good zoom lens, a 24-70 is a great option to shoot this with. I run a 35 in my studio because I like the look, I like how close I can get, and then I've had a couple girls shoot it with a 50. The biggest thing I want you to remember when you are shooting this set, get close and make sure you're shooting from every possible angle. So if we've got north, south, east, and west, right? I want you to consider those in-between directions to find your sweet spot, okay? The other shooting technique I want you to remember, and I'm going to show you when we start shooting, is what I call the in-between. The in-between is super important because when we shoot, we have our background, we have our subject, and we have our foreground. So when you're shooting this, your drops are going to be in your foreground, okay? Which means your subject's in the middle and your background's obviously your background. So you're going to find yourself either focusing on your client or focusing on the drops. The in-between is focusing on that little bit of space in between your model, your client, and your plexiglass. It's going to give you that beautiful middle between having those like super nice drops and your client in focus. And I'm going to show you how I do it. I'm going to show you my settings when we start shooting. So don't fret there because we will absolutely talk about it. But those are things I want you to consider, because when you start shooting the in-between, it's going to feel super uncomfortable because your brain's telling you you're doing something wrong. Okay? So from here, I'm going to get everybody together and we are going to show you how to shoot this set.
Now is the moment in which we realize that Ireland's mic did not work for the entirety of this recording, which is awful. But we're still going to go through and I'm still going to teach you all the things. So I want you to start by looking at this little box light, this constant light we've got to the right. Okay, I have it angled at my plexiglass and my model. So that is going to make sure that the light bounces off my water droplets and highlights her. This particular setup is a little bit different because I do have my neons on behind her and I have an ambient lamp on behind her, which you will see gives almost like a halo, like a shadow dome. So I'm going to show you what some of these pictures are going to look like as we go, and they're going to be unedited so you can kind of see what came out of my camera. I was shooting on a 35mm, and for each setup I will put my settings on the screen at least one time. In a minute, I'm going to explain what the in-between is, but first I want to show you what these images look like straight out of my camera because it's super important to see what this one little light did for us. So here's where I'm going to switch gears on you a little bit. I do change lights because I want to show you what it would look like if you put this perpendicular to a window or if you had a bigger light, because sometimes one larger light can help us fill the gaps more than one smaller light. So I'm using my faux window on wheels. It's a lot brighter And I'm going to show you exactly. You're going to see the halo of shadow over her head because we have that lamp on behind us now a little bit more. And you're going to be able to see more in general. But when you shoot from across and at an angle, your light's going to work for you and give you those little shadows where you need it. Also, I want to say that I'm not fully posing Amy because she is an absolute pro. She's been with me for years. So please know we have a shorthand. We've been doing this a long time. She don't need me. Really quick before I forget, I want to remind you that if you're not shooting in Kelvin, you really need to. It's going to make a world of difference. As you follow along, you're going to notice that I move this light in various little ways. Do it for yourself. Figure out where you like your light. So from there, I'm going to talk to you about what the in-between is. When you start shooting these sets, I want you to shoot 3 shots for every single pose. 1, you're focused on the water droplets. 2, you're focused on the little bit of space between your model and your plexiglass. And 3, focus just on your model. Every single pose, because it's going to show you exactly what this in-between is and what that look entails. Because that is where you're going to find your happy medium, shooting through this kind of plexiglass with this vibe. Because a lot of people have a lot of issues with it because it just doesn't look right. You want to make sure that your water detail is there, but you also want to make sure that your client and or model is in focus and looks the way it's supposed to. Do not worry, I'm fixing to show you a couple different examples. Now I want to help you troubleshoot if in the case your images favor something like this. So in theory, this image isn't bad, but we're kind of losing our model, right? And then in this image, we've got a lot of white light. This means your light is too close and you're at too sharp of an angle. So I'm going to explain how you can fix that. So where my light is positioned, I could have taken it back about, I don't know, maybe a foot, and it would have softened that light. You can also adjust your angle and move. So if you're too far left and you're getting that white, move to the right a touch. Let me show you what that looks like. So making that minor light adjustment gave me this. So you've got the beautiful water droplets, you've got the figure, and everything is nice and balanced without feeling like anything is blown out. Keep in mind, these are still unedited straight out of camera. Once you get comfortable with your lighting, I want you to play around with the vibes that you like. So I'm going to insert 3 more images that I shot very differently for very different reasons. Each of these images were shot differently as far as what was in focus and the vibe that I wanted. So you get very dynamic things from one pose with this set. Now comes the fun part. So I'm going to change the light setup on you again. We got rid of the big light. We brought our little square light back. And I want to show you what happens when we light the plexiglass and then light your client. So if you want neons with this shower set, how to do that without blowing out your neons and losing your water droplets. One thing I will tell you that I was not prepared for was my own reflection in this plexiglass today because I was backlit, because the hall lights were on. So keep that in mind as well. Your plexiglass will reflect any light behind you when you're shooting. I also just want to come in here and say that I'm obsessed with the way that these from this vibe came out because oh my God. This is a super easy set idea and I really hope that this helps you be able to take what you have and create cool ass images with a shower set. With that being said, I want to show you what a super simple setup for a shower set can look like because sometimes we don't have all the neons or we don't like neons and we just want to keep it simple, right? Kiss, keep it simple, stupid. So the exact same light and setup that we did originally with that little square light, the only difference is we are in front of a black wall. It does not matter what color your wall is. Okay, same idea, same concept. So if you can rim light and hit your client and your water droplets with one light, great. If not, light them separately. Now I want to talk to you about really fun ways that you can get cool lighting effects with just moving your light a little bit. So where that light is sitting, you're going to see me. I'm going to move it towards the wall, back towards me. I'm going to take it to the right a little bit. Because if you look right now, where that light is hitting, it's coming from her fingertips down in front of her chest. And you kind of have a line down her jawline where the light's hitting and the shadow shows up. And I'm going to show you the raw image of what this looks like because I was absolutely obsessed, because it almost looks like a ray of light or a ray of window light. But I also wanted you to know that minor adjustments with your light with this kind of set will make huge changes and adjustments when it comes to the way these images capture. So you're quite literally making the light your bitch, because you can control every bit of it. Especially with a box light like this, you can control the brightness, the tones, the colors, everything. And again, earlier I said shoot in Kelvin. This is why. Trust me, learn it, ask questions, thank me later. See, and I moved this forward with the light, and I really did not like the way this shot, because the water droplets looked flat to me and didn't have as much, pop, so to say, that I really wanted these images to have. Now, that's not to say if you're going for a specific look and you need to light it like this, light it however your heart desires. Don't let how I do it change how you do it. I'm just here to help in any way that I can, but we're all different. We all create different art, and that's fucking okay. This was probably one of my favorites. So something else to consider is if your light's not hitting where you want it to, adjust their posing, because you're working in a small space with a lot of different elements. So you've got a couple different plates kind of floating around. So you'll watch, I will turn her chin and we get that shot. So right here, I took her and I faced her towards the wall. We popped a hip, and I wanted to show you kind of what a rim light or a highlight would look like on just part of her body, so that you can literally turn them any which way when it comes to these shower sets, so you can get the angles and the light that you want. So you can, I call it the rotisserie chicken. Turn them every way, do every pose, do everything under the sun that you can think, because you will absolutely fall in love with some of the things that you don't think are going to turn out that great. Now for your bonus set. So this is going to be texture on skin. So the first thing that I started with is I asked her if she had put on any lotions, because if she did, 9 times out of 10, when we spray her with water, the water is going to bubble up and react a little different. It's going to look flat, it's going to look wet, but it's not going to give us the details that we want, okay? So what we're going to do, first of all, we're going to dry off her chest. Then I'm going to give her some baby oil gel, and I'm going to have her rub it in from her jawline all the way down into her shirt and all over her tatas, and not fully blend it in, but also we don't want the wet look. So what this is going to do is it's going to give us a base for our water to be more dramatic. Then you're going to take your handy dandy little spray bottle, and you're going to follow back up, and you're going to hit the, prepped area with a mist, not the stream when we wanted the big, drips earlier, but just the mist that we started with, because this is going to give you all of the things. Now, I really, really wish that my audio wouldn't have gone to shit here, because I was on a roll talking about the way the light hits the water and how dramatic you want it to be. And the typical rule of thumb is you want that shadow right there. If you're shooting at tatas, that kind of shadow that sits between her titties, you can kind of see, oh, it's gone. And then we move it, oh, it's back. That's going to give you the best light source for a shot like this, because you want it to be dramatic. You want to be able to get those drops in focus. And now is when I'm going to make the adjustment. We are going to go from like a 2.8 up to like a 5, I think, on our f-stop. I'll put the information on the screen so that you guys can see. You want more than just one little area in focus. You want her whole chest. And then here, I just backed my light up, played with that exact same lighting concept, and it's going to give her kind of a spotlight highlighted effect. So this is something you can kind of add to shower sets, because the texture on skin is everything. You can do a wet tee, you could do, nude with more water texture everywhere. This is just literally a basic way to do anything. So I hope you had fun hanging out with me. My outro also did not record, and trying to figure out what the hell I said is not possible. So thank you for hanging out with me. I hope you learned something. If you have any questions, drop them below and we will answer how we can. Okay, see you later. Love you. Bye.